Go back and read Trump's book, Art of the Deal. He tells you exactly how he does things. For many things in real estate and public opinion, if you say something like, this is the greatest deal enough times, it kind of becomes true. However, the art of the deal doesn't work with religious warriors hell-bent on spreading Shia Islam around the world. We got to be fair about this. If Trump delivers everything he says this deal will deliver, free passage through the Strait of Hormuz without Iranian tolls or regulation, the end of the Iranian nuclear program in a verifiable and complete way, not just a pause, and that the Iranians stop once and for all funding terrorism. That will be incredible. It will be unquestionably great for him and a huge win for America, a huge win for the world. I'll remain cautiously pessimistic. The Iranians giving up on their nuclear program, keeping the Strait of Hormuz open and stopping to fund terrorists is getting them to go against 1,400 years of Shia Islam. It's like teaching my dog Dutch, an overweight black lab, not to beg for bacon as I cook on Saturday morning. It is possible, but not very likely. Bill O'Reilly, anchor of the No Spin News, author of Confronting Evil, host of the We'll Do It Live podcast, upon which I will be a guest later this week and honored to do it. Bill, what is the fairest way to judge what the administration has put out and what the Iranians have said?
You can't judge it now because you don't have the facts. So I don't know whether you saw our friend Chris Cuomo demanding to know 48 hours after the deal was announced by President Trump what exactly is in it. Who would do that? Who would do that? Who would give critics of the deal and the opposition, the mullahs, 5 days to go dissemble the deal? What kind of a moron would do that? And I'm not calling Cuomo a moron. I'm just saying it doesn't matter. If Friday is D-Day, if Friday the deal is signed or not, then we'll all know. But it's not like we're voting on a referendum on this deal.
Right.
It's like not like the people have any power, the representatives do, and they'll see what comes about on Friday.
Yeah.
That's some kind of craziness.
Well, J.D. Vance says it's a very general document that's a page and a half. So there's a lot there. But why do you think Trump pivoted from Rubio and Hegseth, who were very hawkish and I think clear-minded on what the Iranians were up to and what would be required to bring them to their knees, to J.D. Vance's wanting to have something on paper to move past this?
I think that the logical answer, and I don't know for sure, is that it's much easier for Trump to communicate directly with Vance. So Vance is basically going to say what Trump says. Now, there's so many things here that are just misreported, and it's purpose. They misreport on purpose. Within 5 minutes of Trump announcing the deal over the weekend, CNN was already trashing the deal, already trashing it. They had no idea what it was or what it will be, what it might become. They're trashing it. A guy named Nick Robertson, you know him, because you were in the Middle East and he's there. And I knew that was going to happen. No matter what the deal is, the Democrats are going to trash it. And so is the media. So Trump knows that. So basically, he said to me, because I briefly talked to him, look, the things that we have said all along are going to come true. If they don't come true, then it's a legacy play for Donald Trump. He loses credibility. And it's very fascinating to me, who wrote Confronting the Presidents, to watch the battle of the legacies, which should be a NewsNation program, between Obama and Trump. So the Trump people are saying Obama blew it, and he allowed all this money to go into Iran and got nothing out of it. And the Democrats said, oh, no. The Iranians stopped their nuclear pursuit, which is absolutely false.
Right.
Why did we bomb Natanz?
Well, the irony,
why did that take place?
Because Trump pulled out of the nuclear deal. But the irony, of course, and I think I'm making your point here, is that the same Democrats who were saying how wonderful the Obama deal is are saying that Trump would be going back to the Obama deal and how terrible that is. That your point about the politics is well made. I think that this is far more important than politics, because the mullahs are something that you know a lot about, which is they are evil. That is different. That is not a debate over who should pay for health care. That is over survival of the world. Here's J.D. Vance talking about exactly why he thinks this negotiation with people who want us all dead is a good thing. Take a listen.
This is how wars ultimately get settled. If you go back to World War II, if you go back to World War I, if you go back to every major conflict in human history, they all end with some kind of negotiation.
Give him the benefit of the doubt that the World War I thing was just a slip-up. But you know a lot about confronting evil. You wrote in Confronting Evil, the only way to truly confront evil is to kill it, because it will never change. Why is that different with the mullahs and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard?
Well, you're emasculating them. So Little Rocket Man is an evil guy, and North Korea's got a nuclear weapon, right?
He does, and he's
right?
not. He does, and he's not. He's vastly different than the Iranians.
He's still evil, and he'd kill you if he could.
He doesn't want to conquer the world and spread Islam.
The way that Trump disarmed Little Rocket Man was through flattery and making a deal with Xi that, look, you got to keep this guy under control because your economy is going to go first. And it worked. There are a variety of different ways you can deal with evil. Now, in Iran, the Israelis say openly, we're not going to be part of this. We're not going to be a part of the deal. No matter what deal Trump makes, the Israelis are not going to sign it. They're not going to be on board. That's a tell, a big tell, because the Israelis want the ability to strike back anytime they want for any attack on them. And I don't blame Israel. But the United States goals are different than Israel's. We're different. And what you have here is the Trump administration is trying to diminish the power of the mullahs. Whatever the press says, this is going to make the mullahs look weak in the eyes of their own people, okay? Because they have to go to Geneva, they have to sign this thing, and the thing is going to have a bunch of stuff in it that the crazy jihadists aren't going to like. All right, it's going to. Now, as far as other stuff, the Strait of Hormuz, that's going to take on its own. It's the nukes that are the big thing. And today it was reported. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. Today it was reported, and I believe this is true. And when I say I believe it's true, that means I know it's true. There isn't going to be any money to Iran unless the weapons inspectors go in. Okay? That's the key to unlocking the frozen funds. And there's not going to be any money on the part of the United States Treasury either. It's going to be, as J.D. Vance mentioned, the Arab states that want this to be closed down. I'm not sure
why that's relevant in terms of what the mullahs are going to do with the money.
Okay.
Number one, and number two, the second that the naval blockade is lifted, the Iranians get flush with cash again because they can sell oil. Why are we taking our boot off? Why are we taking our boot off the neck of the mullahs when they've shown us who they are and they've shown us that they play for concessions in time? Why take our boot off their neck until they've actually done one thing, anything that is a good deed? They haven't done a single thing, and they're getting a concession from the United States. Why is that a good idea?
It's not really a concession. It's a, you do this, and the nuclear thing is number one. And then we'll unfreeze some money that you have in banks. I'm of the mind that it's better for the United States and the world, all right, to allow these mullahs to devolve, their power to devolve. Because in the long run, the Persians, may have had enough. 80% inflation there now. This is not going to make the mullahs look good. And the United States economy and the world economy is getting hammered.
Yep.
All of those things are in play.
Well, Bill.
And you got to deal with them if you're a realistic person.
Yeah. I think, Bill, we may have found a time that you are more optimistic than I am, which is a good thing on a Monday afternoon. It's good to see you, or evening.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.